Well, what were your thoughts on Sonic 3?
It's peak. It's amazing. It made me very emotional. And that's not clickbait.
It was, I think, definitively the best of the three we have.
Okay, let's clarify this. First of all, major spoilers, guys.
That's right.
Go away. Do you want to get spoiled on the movie? I mean, you're weird, but okay.
Okay, so I come from classic Sonic games. Okay, so we're talking the Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, of course.
CD.
I didn't really play
'cause you
CD,
need
but
a CD.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then I played Mania when it came out, and I played Generations, but I was never I never had the original 3D games, so I didn't really know the story of like Sonic Adventure 2, which is kind of important for a movie like this.
Yeah, which is basically it's not Sonic Adventure 2 the movie. It's loosely adapting Sonic Adventure 2 to a movie.
So that's where the two perspectives differ. Is you had the prior knowledge of Sonic
I have,
Adventure 2.
for lack of a better term, Sonic fanatic. I am an absolute Sonic fanatic, so that's my perspective. So we have two different perspectives on the movie, yet we still enjoyed it.
Yes, and yeah, I think it was the most memorable of the three for sure.
Well, I guess we should go over like quickly what we thought about the first two. So just get like an idea of why, because it doesn't make sense for why Sonic 3 is so good if we don't put in perspective what the first two did, good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the first one, it feels like they didn't have like any confidence in the brand at all. I mean, also it started with ugly Sonic.
That's true.
With that, which
It's
leads me to believe
way.
that they didn't really care at first, and then when people actually showed that they actually did care, that means that they actually. And then went back and changed it, which is commendable. And then, but it's still nothing really about the movie really screams Sonic. It's still a fun movie. It's a fine family movie.
It was
perfectly fine, but it didn't really scream Sonic. And then the second movie, of course, it had a lot more Sonic elements. Having Tails and Knuckles be like at the forefront of the movie was great. Being at the forefront of the movie was great, but it still didn't really have a lot of confidence in the Sonic characters because about 1/3 of the whole movie was the stupid wedding scene.
Yeah.
And if you've seen the movie, it goes on for quite a while.
It was. I do remember we were laughing a lot because we both saw all three of these movies together, and we were laughing a lot at the wedding scenes for all the wrong reasons.
It's not that the fact that they're human characters; it's just how they're used.
The human characters.
It's how the human characters are used.
Yeah.
I think it did a really decent job in the first movie of making Tom a valuable character. I mean, he's the second main character in the movie. In the first movie. He's a valuable character to the movie, so he doesn't feel like a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in the wedding feels like a waste of time because what does it have to do with the main?
Yeah, I don't know who those two, the two people who were like, I don't know if were they being married in the second movie that had to be in the third movie who were like the disguises or whatever.
Randall and Rachel.
Those people, I think they were contractually like they had to be in the third movie because it made no sense for them to be there.
I think that Paramount just really likes those actors, and they're good actors. Okay, I'm not gonna say they're not bad actors.
Then they should have been freaking Tom and.
They had him in there,
Maddie.
Well, they had him in there in the way that they weren't there, but they were also there, which is very clever. If we had to have them in the movie, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
because they're just disguised.
I will thank them for that.
In a 2-minute scene,
and at least that scene was short.
It was
the worst scene in my opinion
cringe.
of the movie.
I don't like the Rachel character because she's really.
She's
really loud.
That was the worst part of. We're gonna skip right to what I think is the worst part of the movie, which was the scene where Rachel goes up to the counter and it's like, we're on high security. You're not allowed in here. It's like all she does is get moody, and he's like, okay, come on.
Yeah,
in.
Their best thing was that they wanted to have lunch in a highly guarded building. That was their.
All she said is, "I'm gonna get you fired," and he was like, "Oh, okay, all right." Come on in.
Honestly, that whole middle part was actually just not good. The pacing was pretty, like, it was not bad, but it was still a little bit slower than the beginning and the end. The highlights of the movie are the beginning, the first 20 minutes, and then the last 20 minutes, hour. Only like a small part, basically whenever they were in London, which I think was like a little bit of a lower part.
Yeah, but even then, like, if the Sonic characters were on screen, it was just good. Like, it was just
still
better.
Good. Yeah, I'm just saying the pace was like a little slow. It's a movie, I know. Like, the pace can't always be crazy action. But I just think, that one part at the beginning where what was their plan going in there? They had it all planned out at the beginning. Tails set up the whole like plan of what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And the best thing they come up with is that they were going to have lunch
I don't even remember the.
But it makes sense why they would have the Randall guy be in there because he worked for Gunn in the second movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
So that makes sense for him to be in there. I don't know why they disguise as Rachel at all. Like, why didn't he go up to her and be like, "I'm gonna get you fired"? Because maybe they didn't know. Those guys didn't know that he didn't work for Gunn anymore because he did work for Gunn in the second movie. It just didn't make nothing really in that 2-minute segment really made any sense. Although the best part of that whole London scene was Shadow going revenge guac.
Oh yeah.
Come on, Shadow, we'll make some guac.
That's one thing.
Revenge guac.
Yeah. That's one thing I want to mention about the like a lot of the jokes in the movie. There were so many jokes, and they were constantly joking, which I thought was awesome. It's very fitting, I think, for a Sonic movie. Like, yeah, there's plenty of cheesy, corny jokes that you scoff at, but there's so many of them that some of them land, and it's funny. So it's like
some jokes suck. There's some jokes that suck.
Yeah.
The ones that come to mind are two of Sonic's. I'm not gonna say them, but because they're cringe. But
the Kanichi what?
Yeah, and then somebody better call Google Maps. No.
Okay, the Google Maps.
It makes sense.
Caught me off guard a little bit.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was all that.
A mountain blew up.
Yeah, somebody better call Google Maps. That was fine.
That's the thing with Sonic is like he's just nonstop throwing those zingers. So some of them work.
He grew up alone, so he has all this he read comic books and shit, and he grew up alone, so he knows all these references and stuff, and he watched movies.
That's the thing. I think
he just spouts out references, and I think the parts where the jokes where he actually makes a joke that's it within the movies, not just a joke that references something else, are the funny parts.
I like that some of the jokes were bad. It would be better if they were all funny, but I feel like there is some charm to him just saying jokes that
Sonic's always been a little cheesy, but the fact they play it straight, I think, really makes it authentic. Even in the games too, the part where in the movie where Sonic goes, it just directly rips the line from "No food or movies, I'm out of here" when he jumps out of the gun helicopter. No food or movies, I'm out of here. Yeah, that was straight from that. And even though that you probably watched and you're like, oh, that's kind of cheesy. But to me, I'm like, oh, that's a reference. It's still cheesy in the game too, but that's what kind of makes it charming a little bit.
That helicopter scene was sick though. It was hype, knowing that they're about to encounter Shadow. The city looks cool.
Before we get into everything else that's good about it, because we're pretty much done with all the negatives of the movie. At this point. I only got one more negative thing to say. What the hell is that stupid joke about the Eggman tasting the quill? They keep doing it. They keep doing it in every single movie. It's not funny.
Well, they can't do it anymore.
It's never been funny. Why is it funny? Is he addicted to doing it?
It's just
he likes the shock from it.
I don't know.
What's the joke? Him and Grandpa Gerald did it.
Yeah, when
Grandpa
they
Gerald.
both did it. Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about the cool things.
Let's go to the opening. Let's get the very obvious.
That had to be the best 20 minutes of the opening I've ever seen in my entire life.
The opening was sick.
Not the very opening where Shadow breaks out free, but the Tokyo scene.
Yeah, the whole Tokyo scene, that battle scene, and everything was sick. Awesome way to start it. And even all the Shadow backstory stuff, I thought was really cool. As someone who wasn't really familiar with the Shadow's actual story, I feel like it did a really good job summarizing it for me.
Very well.
I think it explained it well.
It didn't really summarize it at all. Because the game never really showed their connection that much. It's heavily implied.
Yeah.
But this movie shows you them hanging out with the montage and her teaching them things about the way that they were able to expand upon their friendship quite a bit more. I think did it way better than the game. It turned
Shadow into immediately one of the best characters in this trilogy, I think, because automatically you understand him more than more than anyone else.
I think it also really helped that Maria in the game, she's terminally sick. She has NIDS. That's what it's called. That's the acronym for it. It's basically space AIDS. That makes her terminally ill. But for the fact that she's not ill in the movie, she's just allowed to be a lot happier.
Yeah,
and that was able to rub off on
you.
Shadow,
really understood
really
why a Shadow liked
just
Maria.
The whole scene of them hanging out was perfect.
Maria represented the goodness of humanity, and then watching her die, you understand why he's now he's on a tear.
Because that was his only friend, the only person that really treated him right. Look back to the Tokyo scene. The way that Shadow's shadow reflected on the red light when he was walking up to like on the gunship, which is also a reference to the game, was perfect. Rip Knuckles' wrist when it gets twisted.
That was cool.
When it gets twisted, and I didn't even realize. Yeah, just like he just like kicked him like 8 times up in the air.
Yeah, he just destroyed a Shadow Knuckles fight. That was cool to see. Like
they're gonna make a show with Shadow and Knuckles.
Wait, really?
I think so. They wanted to do that
with actual Sonic characters in it.
Yeah, not just wait.
Yeah, as long as honestly, just find a way to phase out the human characters, and this is like awesome.
I don't even care if they use like Tom and Maddie.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, let's talk about.
Okay,
let's talk about them real quick. This was the least that they were in any of the movies, which is good. And all they're there for is to encourage Sonic. Tom gave his dad speech, which is what he's supposed to do.
They're Tom and Maddie are best when they're barely there.
Also, the fact that Tom was walking around as a dead guy was a little disrespectful if you think about it. His dad.
It worked. He got. I mean, that would if you wanted the chip or whatever. What would you have? The key.
Also, it was a little ridiculous. Shadow's punch could knock the Chaos Emeralds out of Super Sonic. Practically invincible creature.
Yeah.
He's basically invincible in every game Super Sonic's in, but didn't kill a regular ass human. He punched Tom.
Oh yeah,
He punched Tom.
I was thinking about that. Like, I was thinking about like, should they have killed Tom?
Definitely.
It would have
resonated Sonic's arc. He went on like this like revenge arc, and then he like indirectly became more like Shadow.
I do think you have to keep in mind like it is a lot of kids are watching it. Is it worth killing off Tom? I think it might have just...
They killed off Commander Powers. They killed off Maria.
Yeah, that was good.
I don't see why not.
I don't know. It might have been a little too far to kill him. Although I feel like it would have been better. But
it would have sold it more for me if like when Sonic goes, "What did you do?" and then Shadow goes, "But I had to."
Yeah,
was a lot. I feel like a little lot better. No, it actually would have been fine if he was more hurt at the end of the movie when he came out of his coma, and he had like just a sling around his arm.
Yeah, the cast was fun.
Really? He punched him in the gut. Why would his arm be injured? Like what the heck, guys? That's not what his body part. I think that's what rubs me the wrong way. I would have think it would have been better if he was like in some sort of wheelchair.
Was, something paralyzed. To better convey how serious this injury was.
Just a broken arm. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, that's it?
I was a little scared, like, when that scene happened, I was like...
I was like, oh, cool. Like, that was very impactful part.
It was great to set up the fight. Like, it set
and
up
then
the fight
Shadow,
really well.
like, immediately regretting it. Because
that was so cool. That second
and
of
that,
human...
and that, like, kind of snapped him out of his like, revenge state.
Yeah.
For a second there, because and then he like had a flashback to Maria. It was really good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Also, okay, let's just talk about the action. The motorcycle, him skating on the motorcycle on the building. Also, he popped up with the gun, started trying to shoot Sonic, and he skated on the building with the motorcycle, jumps off the building with the motorcycle, jumps off the motorcycle. Sonic jumps from like a radio tower, and then they just it's so good. Okay, last chance for super spoilers. Super Sonic, Super Shadow fight. Yeah. Awesome. Actually, before that, just the part where like Sonic and Knuckles get in an argument.
Yeah, that was cool.
That got me on it. I was like on the edge of my seat there.
Just like is Sonic and Knuckles gonna fight again?
Fight again.
I love that little
but not because like a misunderstanding because Eggman tricked him, but like as like a brotherly kind of fight.
Yeah, that was really cool. I don't know if it would have been cooler to see him fight.
No, because Knuckles was like, even though I don't think that's the right thing to do, I still trust you. And so that's why he let him go do it. And then Sonic still made the wrong decision. Actually, the whole thing about the theme of making the right decision, honestly, I feel like that kind of helped me, has helped me a lot too, just in like my daily life. Like you got to make like right decisions, the best decisions.
I mean, yeah, that was a good,
the first two movies' themes were like, the first movie's theme was like, family is good, and then the second movie's theme is about responsibility. But I don't think that was really conveyed all that well. This one's conveyed well perfectly. Yeah. At the end of the movie, Sonic has the decision to kill Shadow or not, and the right decision is to not be like Shadow.
Like choose the right thing.
And choose revenge.
Yeah, vengeance is bad.
Yeah. I mean, it does make it pretty cool though. at first.
Yeah, you can be really cool.
You get to ride motorcycles and shoot guns.
Yeah, if you want revenge. But so if we're talking about action scenes,
I want to hear what. Yeah, I want to hear.
One thing I wanted to say is like, and I already said this to you earlier, but like, just the visuals in general, I feel like are
animation.
Just the best so far for sure. But like every single time the characters are on screen, it's like it just looks awesome.
They're so expressive.
Yeah.
Up until Shadow Generations, the game, the characters have not been expressive at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really refreshing to see them like emote so much and be so lively.
Yeah, I told you, like, I feel like you could pause at like
any moment,
and you could set it as a wallpaper.
When Sonic, like when Super Sonic comes in and crashes through the. Also, yeah, just the animation there where they're like, Sonic would punch him and then he'd go to like a different place of the world and like another place of the world. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah,
everything with their fight is just spectacular at that part.
Speaking of portals and stuff, I did notice that it seemed like the rings were a little bit of like a plot, like a.
I mean, that's the thing they set up since the first movie.
Which is fine. Yeah, it doesn't really bother me.
That's just what they do. They just teleport place to place.
Yeah, for some reason, things like that, they bother some people, but I don't really.
All they used it for was to get to Tokyo right away, get to London right away.
It just makes the movie better, like really. Like it just keeps it
they don't have to
fast.
Explain how we get from place to place because they could just go from place to place.
Like it can be a little cartoonish and wacky. It's Sonic.
Yeah, it's
like
Sonic.
It doesn't have to be like
not
hyper realism or anything.
It's not Game
like
of Thrones.
Yeah, this isn't Game of Thrones.
It's not Game of Thrones.
If it gets it to like
this is the movie where Jim Carrey dances with himself in lasers.
Yeah, we do need to get to that. That's the first thing on this list.
Okay, we want to talk about that right now?
Yeah. Obviously, Jim Carrey's good.
Jim Carrey always. I think he really carried the first movie for me.
Yeah.
I think for most people, he carried the first movie.
He Jim carried it.
He brings in all the boomer people to watch the movie. He really carried the first movie, and then the second movie when we start introducing more Sonic stuff, and then he kind of plays like a little bit like less of a backseat, but he still does great. And then he looks more like Eggman. Just the transformation from not Eggman to being Eggman.
Like so
he's
Eggman
just 100% in this movie. He's just 100% game accurate Eggman.
There's
nothing.
It's
no,
incredible.
No ifs or in or buts about it. Like he just is game Eggman at that point.
What was so awesome to see was like there was like a family with kids in front of us when we were watching it, and it was so awesome to see like the Sonic characters are like making their cheesy jokes, and the kids are thinking it's funny, and then Jim Carrey is like the adults. Like
yeah,
it's like such a great movie for so many people.
It's really for everybody. It's quite a bit for everybody.
That's what's awesome. Like you can go. It's like literally. Kids movies can be great. Mm-hmm. Kids movies can be spectacular, and I think this is.
It does balance it out, because Sonic's not usually portrayed as a little kid. He's usually a pretty wise role model and leader most of the time in the games. But him being like a kid, I understand why they did that. Makes it more relatable to kids, and he's got to have an arc. In the games, he's a static character.
Yeah.
He doesn't change really at all. I don't think there's a game where he ever actually has a character arc. No, there is no game. Other characters have character arcs, but not Sonic.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Actually, I prefer being a static character. But I understand why they did that. And I like it that way.
It's just cool that, like...
Yeah. Jim Carrey, he's an all-star.
Yeah.
He is so old. No offense. He's old.
How old is he?
It's like 50?
Yeah.
Something?
Aside from his very explicit joke about him playing two characters.
That was really on the nose, but it was so on the nose that I think it was kind of funny.
It was hilarious.
It was funny. And if any joke makes you laugh,
well, people in the theater were audibly laughing around us. So,
that was funny. I heard
awesome.
some chuckles out of that. So, you know what? Good job, Jim Carrey.
And they were the adults in front of us.
Half of the things he says has to be improvised. I think he does his Jim Carrey thing. He's not trying to be Eggman, but Eggman's so goofy anyway. It's fine. He just loves doing it so much. You could definitely tell he hams up everything.
Every scene he felt like he was putting his all into.
My point is that he's so old, but he just loves doing it. He's never done a sequel or even a third movie ever in his career. And the fact that he's doing a third movie for Sonic the Hedgehog is crazy.
So awesome.
Not even a character.
I wonder...
He's not even the main character, and he's doing multiple movies for him. He kept saying he was going to retire. He retired, and then he did the first movie, and he's like, now I'm done. And then he did the second movie, and he's like, now guys, I'm done.
But this one's the best received
and that's the best.
one.
Not only did he come back, He did double the work. And that's
awesome.
That's awesome.
I wonder if he got paid for double the work.
No.
Well, when they told me I was going to play 2 Robotniks, I was delighted.
There's 2 Eggmen now?
Double your villains, double your fun. Until I realized I was doing twice the work for the same pay.
What? But
because,
what if,
you know,
since it's
because all the money's going to that Keanu Reeves.
How funny would it be since it just got so much better? Like, since this has been being received pretty well,
and they're making more and more money.
So I wonder if maybe he's like, what if I just come back again?
I don't think it's about the money for him. It is. That's a factor, of course.
But he might just. But I think
he just genuinely loves playing, because he said he was done.
Yeah.
And then he keeps coming back. I think he just likes doing it.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's about the money. He's got enough money. Loves
Oh
doing
yeah.
it.
Another thing with along the lines of Robotnik is the little plot with him and his assistant or whatever.
Oh, Agent Stone.
That was kind of good.
I love it.
Like,
they really got that right in the first movie and in the second movie too. Is that you gotta have Eggman talk to somebody. Because if he's not talking to anybody, he's not gonna say anything funny. It makes it so funny, especially with someone as deadpan. It's like, I like that.
And I actually felt a little sad at the end when he was looking up at the.
His speech,
it was actually kind of an emotional.
His speech was awesome, and he starts referencing things from the first 2 movies.
Yeah.
I would kind of wish he started flossing like in the second movie. Remember, like when he saves Knuckles in the second movie, he starts flossing.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
I kind of wish he did that.
I love how in all of these movies there's like a joke that's like 5 years old in it.
Yeah, Sonic floss. No, it's just flossing. I was going to bring up Gerald, but we can wait on that.
My thing on Gerald is his death was amazing.
Well, before we talk about the amazing death bugs
let's
out.
talk about the life of Gerald before we
Okay,
get
so
his
what's
demise.
different from the game? You didn't know this before, I assume. Gerald was dead before the events of the game.
Yeah.
That he was shot by gunfire. Like he was publicly executed before the events of Sonic Adventure.
Is that after Maria died or before?
That was after Maria died.
Okay.
It drove him to go crazy. They locked him up because everything got shut down. They locked him up. He went crazy. But before he got locked up, it's why he created the Eclipse Cannon, because he was going crazy and he wanted to destroy the world. They somehow, I was a little worried at first because one, he's alive in this movie.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is old as hell. He's 110.
Yeah, it's not
110.
Yeah.
Because 2024 minus 50, it's like 1976.
That's so funny though.
Yeah. So in the 70s, he's 110.
It's his grandfather. What happened to his father?
He's moving around and he's dancing. Well, we don't know. They said that Jim Carrey was like OG Jim Carrey, regular Eggman.
Yeah.
He was like set up for adoption, so they don't know his family in the movie.
No.
I just thought that he was going to be like too goofy, and they were going to get the serious part in. But
no.
Once I started to see that he didn't actually care about Eggman at all. He's
essentially like Shadow without the redemption.
Mm-hmm. But it was so good. I love the change that he's manipulating Shadow. Instead of like him, because in the game he made Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of in the movie he finds Shadow in like an asteroid.
I like the changes to the story though. I feel like it
allows they can set up more stuff. Like his other dad, Black Doom. In the game, Shadow has 2 dads, Black Doom and Gerald, and in the movie he has no dads. That's really
dadless.
He's dadless. But they totally nailed Gerald, even though he was goofy and being like Jim Carrey. They nailed it at the end when he truly reveals his plans. I'm not gonna say the S word, but he was on an S mission because he said, it's gonna destroy the world and us too. And then regular Eggman goes, we can't do that. What's there left to rule if the world's destroyed?
Yeah.
That part was fantastic.
That was good.
And, just the fact he was able to manipulate Shadow was such a great choice.
Yeah.
He's just like being emotionally manipulative because he's like, remember what they did to Maria. He's there to encourage Shadow in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, he just feeds the
instead
vengeance.
because in the game he plants those memories in Shadow. What do you think it's so far on Gerald? Was he like a really good villain?
I thought it was awesome. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else. I can't think of anyone else who could possibly have such like a. Not only did he play 2 characters, but they had the best chemistry in the whole.
He was
freaking
funny
movie.
And he was serious, and the fact that they were able to so seamlessly do that.
Yeah, like
that whole scene where they were just getting like VR bonding. Was
oh
awesome.
Yeah, that was so funny.
And Jim Carrey riding a bike was
the
awesome.
Christmas thing in the trailer. I didn't watch the trailer. At least I saw the trailer, parts of the trailer, but I never watched.
That was really the only Christmassy thing about the movie, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like before the movie, I didn't watch like the trailers through, so that Christmas scene caught me off guard.
I think they shoehorned that in because it was coming out in December.
But it was hilarious.
Yeah,
I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He just jumps and destroys the tree.
Yeah. They need to do a whole spin-off movie of just freaking...
Poor Agent Stone, man.
Yeah.
Poor Agent Stone. That was a great character arc.
Agent Stone should be the new Robotnik. I don't know if he could play
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him again because he's funny. He only works good with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And if Jim Carrey's done, he needs to be done.
Yeah.
As well. But the way Gerald got bugs out.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I was watching reviews today on this great film we're talking about. And this guy, I was watching this guy and he was all angry. He was like, I hate the way they killed Gerald off.
Okay,
and I was like,
it's funny as fuck.
It was.
I think some people would get mad about that.
It was so funny to me. It seemed like they didn't care.
He really went. He did the goofy thing. He was like, yeah, whoa, 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 and he got shot into the.
What's so funny to me is the fact that it was like it was literally a bug zap sound effect.
Yeah.
And then it was just done for the whole.
And then
movie. No one even talked.
No. Jim Carrey made a joke about it. You could say whatever you want about my grandpa, but he made a good bug zap. I'm like.
It's just funny to me that the primary villain of this story just goes out literally.
But
like
who
that.
better to kill Jim Carrey than Jim Carrey? Oh, the coldest line in the whole movie, which is like so freaking awesome, where he goes, "You're no Maria." That was so cool. That is so cold. You said it to your own. Imagine saying that to your grandkid. I gotta talk about just the fight scene at the end where they're in space and Shadow uses like the Chaos Sphere, which is the movie can do from the game, and just like actually having Sonic music in the movie, which is what we've been wanting for forever. It's what I've been wanting for forever. Having Live and Learn in the movie, so fucking cool. I mean, you've probably heard the song, right?
I've heard,
but
the
you've
songs.
never played the final boss.
I'm less familiar with them because I didn't really play those games. But yeah, I mean,
dude, it was so accurate to the game. Of course, they're not fighting a giant lizard, but like it's still them teaming up to fight something, and just it was so good when they like fist like. They did the cool thing for Predator, and then they like, that was so cool. And then Live and Learn starts playing. It made me like tear up a little, like not actually crying, but I was just like, it was just like my childhood, just like. It was
the most invested in the story, like.
And the action's just fantastic. It's just fantastic action.
Yeah.
It's better than Marvel action, but the action is amazing, and the second movie you get like. Piss all supersonic. You get like a few seconds.
Yeah, that's true. It's only at the very end.
At the very end, and he does barely anything. This you get just so much supersonic and super shadow action.
Yeah, that's
like watching your face was great. You loved it, and you didn't even know what it was referencing.
That's how you know it's good.
You didn't know what it was referencing because it works on its own.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was easy
and
for me to understand.
It only enhances it when
made you happy.
When I have the prior experience of what it's like. You want to talk about post-credit scene, or is there any other bullet points?
I think we should. I mean, it was cool, but I do think we should do a whole video on like speculation for the fourth movie.
Yeah, okay, we'll just save it. Post-credit scene was pretty fucking crazy. I lost my goddamn mind. He called it.
Yeah,
somehow. I don't know how you called it.
I just thought when you think of Sonic characters,
one of the first
characters you think of is like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy. Are like those are like the first ones that come to mind.
Four.
So it's like they gotta find a way to get Amy in there. But like the fact that it's also Metal Sonic and Amy, that is sick. That's awesome.
Yeah, I knew going in that the post-credit scene was making people flip out. I didn't know what it was. I assumed it was going to be like. I was hoping for two things. I was going to be happy with no matter what, but I was hoping for like one big thing. It was like they were going to like a portal was going to open, a portal ring was going to open up, and it was going to be all the other characters from the games, and then they all go back to their world, so we can have a fully animated.
No, they got to introduce them slow so they can keep making movies.
But that's why do we have to justify Sonic characters being in the movie? Why do they have to be justified? If we want a Sonic, like when they made the Mario movie, as inoffensive as that movie is, they don't have to justify why the fucking Koopa's in the movie. We don't have to justify why Donkey Kong's in the movie. You just make it's in the world.
Yeah.
But that's just a pet peeve of mine.
I think.
But just the Metal Sonic was like, we'll talk about it a little bit. Yeah. Metal Sonic was like just totally ripped straight from the game. I can't tell you any differences.
Yeah. The only thing I do hope, I'm a little worried that I don't want it to just be a stereotypical army of Metal Sonics.
I think there's a bigger antagonist.
I hope there's like a main Metal Sonic.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, this original Metal Sonic. I talked about it with my brother. This is the longest post-credit scene I've ever seen in my entire life.
There were 2, yeah.
No, just the first one was super duper long for a post-credit scene. If you walked out of the theater before that, that's your loss.
Also, for all 3 of the movies, the credits were awesome to watch.
Yeah, because there's always a new character.
And the animation for the credits have always been cool.
I think because it was a Dreamcast game and not like a 2D pixel art game.
Yeah.
They did like the little low poly thing.
Yeah, that was so... I loved it.
I loved it. Yeah. Yeah, because in the Sonic Heroes, there is... Metal Sonic is the big bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's super cool in that game because Metal Sonic has 3 forms. He has his original base form. Yeah. And he has... First of all, there's other different kinds of Metal Sonics. Mm-hmm. In like Sonic 2 there's one, Sonic 3 there's one.
Yeah.
Sonic CD is the one where like the real like metal good Metal Sonic. In Sonic Heroes itself he has his base form. He has Neo Metal Sonic where he's allowed to talk. He's got this like cool cape, but he's not like some big monster. And then there's Metal Madness or Metal Overlord where he's just this big kaiju monster. and he's definitely he's definitely I think there's like a Metal Sonic Mark like 1 or like the one. Mm-hmm. I think there's one. I think when Jim Carrey dies, which he did die, that he built it in between movies. He built Metal Sonic, and as like a contingency plan, Metal Sonic gets released if he ever died. Cool. And then like you got all these Metal Sonics after Sonic.
Well,
it's kind of weird that you go between Sonic adapting Sonic 1, adapting Sonic 2 and 3, adapting Sonic Adventure 2, skip right over to Adventure 2.
Yeah.
And then back to Sonic CD.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
I'm hoping there's no time travel. Although I'm not sure why they would need to do time travel.
I hope they don't get into that. Because time travel,
I'd like to see them go off planet.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
It was good.
It's so good. Just the fact that there's no stupid subplot.
Yeah.
Of humans, and it's just what we want. It's just Sonic.
It's fast.
I don't care if there's humans in it. They serve the main plot.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. Okay, I don't care if there's humans. It's how they're used in the movie. I'd say as a movie, it's like a 9 out. I don't usually do number rankings, but like as a movie, it's like a 9 out of 10 for me. As a Sonic movie, it's a 20 out of 10. Like if you knew nothing about
regular
Sonic,
movie, okay, here's one. Regular movie, it's like a 7 or 8. Kids movie, like 9.5.
If you go see Mufasa, you can't tell me that that's not boring as hell compared to Sonic characters being all like fun and energetic and colorful. That's what Shadow said. They're a colorful bunch. You know?
So yeah, I mean, and then as a Sonic movie, obviously also freaking 9.5.
It's the most Sonic in a Sonic movie, which kind of weird how it took 3 movies to get here. But you know,
go watch it if you haven't yet. Although you just spoiled the whole thing for yourself, so good for you. That's it.
See you guys.